Let's get more now on our main news and the crash of that Air India plane bound for London seconds after it took off from the Indian city of Ahmedabad. Air India has now confirmed that of the 242 people on board, there's been only a single survivor. It's not yet known how many people were killed on the ground as the aircraft came down on a medical college hostel.
Tonight, airplanes and billions in contracts going down in flames. It all started when a nearly brand new Boeing 737 MAX dropped a panel mid-flight, just 2 months after delivery. From that moment on, trust fractured. 3 powerhouse airlines, KLM, Qantas, and Emirates, have publicly cut Boeing off. They've shifted billions in orders to Airbus. This isn't a business hiccup, it's a seismic collapse in trust and a full-scale shift in global aviation. For decades, Boeing wasn't just building airplanes, it was building trust. The name carried weight not only in hangars but in boardrooms. It stood for American engineering, global reliability, and a partner airlines could bet their futures on. Airlines didn't just purchase jets off a product sheet. These were multi-billion-dollar partnerships, shaped by handshake deals, shared ambitions, and long-term fleet strategies that sometimes spanned generations. But today, that rock-solid loyalty is cracking, and fast. Take KLM, for example. The Dutch carrier is the oldest airline in the world still operating under its original name. For more than half a century, KLM's fleet was practically a Boeing showroom. From the iconic 747 Jumbo to the versatile 737 short-haul jets. As of late 2024, nearly 84% of their operational fleet was Boeing-built. So when it came time to modernize their aging aircraft, most expected KLM to stick with what it knew, the new 737 MAX series. But instead, they shocked the industry. KLM announced a landmark order of 134 Airbus aircraft, split across the A320neo and A350 families. It wasn't a slight tweak, it was a full strategic break from decades of tradition. A corporate divorce made very public. Because Boeing's aging 737 fleet had become a liability, maintenance costs were rising fast, fuel efficiency had fallen behind, and with strict environmental standards from the European Union and the airline's own sustainability targets, sticking with Boeing's older designs simply became too risky. Airbus offered a better deal on every front. The A321neo could carry more passengers and fly farther than the 737 MAX 10. Emissions were lower, fuel burn was tighter, and delivery schedules were more reliable. And in a world where carbon taxes and regulatory pressure are only increasing, those differences meant real money saved and reputational risk avoided. KLM's move wasn't emotional, it was economic. And once that kind of trust is broken, others take notice. On the other side of the world, Qantas, Australia's national pride, and one of Boeing's most loyal customers, quietly made one of the industry's loudest statements. For decades, Qantas trusted Boeing for both short-haul and long-haul operations, from the workhorse 737s on domestic routes to the legendary 747s that once symbolized luxury international travel. Boeing was at the core of Qantas's identity. But loyalty has limits. By the early 2020s, Qantas's Boeing fleet was showing its age. The 737s and 717s were becoming expensive to maintain, less fuel efficient, and increasingly incompatible with the airline's aggressive sustainability goals. Carbon targets weren't just policy, they were business imperatives. So, Qantas made a move. They placed a bold order: 20 Airbus A321 XLRs and 20 A220-300s, with options for nearly 100 more. These planes would replace their Boeing short-haul fleets, offering 30% better fuel efficiency, greater passenger capacity, and the range to open new non-stop routes that Boeing couldn't match without larger, less efficient aircraft. But that wasn't the headline. The real shock came with Project Sunrise, Qantas's ultra-ambitious plan to launch non-stop flights from Sydney to New York, London, and Paris. Journeys pushing the limits of commercial aviation with up to 20 hours in the air. 2 aircraft were in the race, the Airbus A350-1000 and Boeing's upcoming 777X. Boeing pitched the 777X hard. It promised more capacity and powerful specs. But there was one problem. It wasn't flying yet. The A350-1000, on the other hand, was already in the skies, tested, certified, trusted. For an airline planning routes this ambitious, there was no room for uncertainty. Qantas went with Airbus, not out of spite, but out of strategy. They needed reliability. They needed sustainability. They needed a partner who could deliver on promises today, not just slide decks and prototypes. In that decision, Qantas didn't just change aircraft, they changed allegiance. And Boeing lost one of its most influential global advocates. And then there's Emirates, the crown jewel of Gulf aviation, and once Boeing's ultimate showcase client. For years, Emirates wasn't just a buyer, it was a brand ambassador, operating one of the world's largest fleets of Boeing 777 aircraft. These jets powered Emirates' vast global network, connecting Dubai to nearly every continent with unmatched frequency and luxury. In fact, back in 2019, Emirates made a bold move that seemed to cement its loyalty to Boeing. They canceled a massive Airbus A350 order, choosing instead to double down on Boeing's wide bodies. It was seen as a vote of confidence in Boeing's future, particularly in the upcoming 777X, a next-generation aircraft Boeing touted as a game-changer. But that confidence didn't last. By 2023, the tone had shifted, and fast. Emirates returned to the Dubai Air Show with a bombshell, an order for 65 Airbus A350-900s, valued at over $20 billion. This wasn't a casual diversification, it was a redirection. The airline openly cited fuel efficiency. Years of delays, missed certification deadlines, and unanswered questions about performance had eroded trust. The 777X, still not certified, remained stuck in testing. Emirates simply couldn't afford to wait any longer. The A350-900 wasn't just available, it was already flying. It delivered reliable performance, strong cargo yield, and crucially, it aligned with Emirates' environmental and operational goals. The impact was seismic. Boeing didn't just lose an order, they lost credibility with their biggest long-haul client. And when an airline as high-profile as Emirates makes that kind of pivot, the message to the rest of the industry is clear. Even Boeing's strongest partnerships are no longer guaranteed. This isn't disloyalty, it's survival. Safety scares. The 737 MAX crashes rocked confidence. Investigations revealed Boeing shortcuts and regulatory lapses, delays and quality control issues. 737 MAX 7 and 10 remain uncertified. The 777X is repeatedly delayed. Manufacturing still has flaws. A320neo, A321XLR, A350 series, all certified, efficient, and delivery ready. So, where does Boeing go from here? Rebuild trust, stringent safety reviews, transparency, and accountability. No more scandals. Deliver on promises. Get MAX variants and the 777X certified. And in the air, lead in sustainability. Invest in new tech, hydrogen, electric, greener materials. The industry is watching. Airlines plan decades ahead. They demand certainty, not delays. Because when Emirates, KLM, and Qantas switch publicly and decisively, the message is clear. Boeing, we can't wait any longer.
What we're seeing isn't just a shift, it's a transformation in global aviation.
Can Boeing rise from its crisis, or are we witnessing a permanent realignment of the skies? Drop a comment below. Do you think Boeing can rebuild trust? If sharp, timely tech business stories are your thing, hit that like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because we're just getting started.